about what's new in the Office 365 world. So we're taking a look through some of the Message Center incidents that have been happening, anything that's current, anything that's been closed out, so we get an idea of what's changing on the environment on a week-by-week basis, so you can be prepared to take support calls from the customers, or at least know what services are more or less stable. And we'll go and look at what's changed in the roadmap. So we'll look at items that have launched in the last weeks, and also what are coming out and being released in the upcoming weeks. There's actually quite a lot of content to get through today, so we're going to rush through it reasonably quickly so I don't keep you for too long. So if there's anything that you find of interest, then you can come back, have a look at it, and go and look at those items for yourself. The intention here is to try to raise awareness. So what is Red Plane Insider? It's our ability to come and deliver updates to you and let you know what's going on with Office 365 platform, and then you can take that knowledge back to your workplace or to your customers so you can better support them. We have a lot of other things coming online in the future as well, so virtual meetups, VR meetups, things like that. Also an email newsletter you can receive each week to get these updates directly to your inbox on a weekly basis. So you'll see more of that coming online over time. So for now, there's a couple of little news items I want to go into. Things have been going on lately, but a couple of little easy ones that have caught my attention. I'm working on the news bit, so we'll have more interesting news going forward, but these are a couple of little things I think are really useful. One thing that's just changed recently is I was just creating a list, or one of my employees was creating a list, and we noticed a very nice change in here. So if I go into my demo list, I just want to show you this quickly, and for those of you who have lived through this, you're going to love it. One thing that really annoys me as a developer is when people create a new list column and put spaces in the name. It really, really bothers me, really annoys me. We all know that we should just create a column name without spaces, go back and rename it, so we don't get the horrible _x0200 underscore in our internal field names. But one thing I've noticed over the last, I think this must come out very recently, maybe in the last couple of weeks, if we go and create a new column with a space in straight away, I'm going to click save. My new column is created, but check this out. If I now go and if I just do a group on it to get the column name, we can see SharePoint has automatically removed the spaces. Why on earth has this taken 15 years of SharePoint for this to be the default? But thank God this is finally here, and we can all be happier that we don't have lots of spaces and horrible characters in our column names. So very little, but I tell you what, that is going to save a lot of people a lot of pain, so I'm quite excited about that. A couple of other little things I just want to show to you as well. A change in Microsoft Flow that's come through recently is the ability to copy actions. This is something we've been asking for a very, very long time. So now if you go into your Flow, if you click on the three little dots, we have the ability to copy to my clipboard. Bear in mind this is in preview, but it does work, so you absolutely can use it. So if I just copy this to my clipboard, if I go to add a new step, then I've got a new option in here that's called my clipboard. And I can see in here I've got my compose action that I saved before. So I can save that. I can go and I can rename it and call this body. And it's also kept in the text that was in there as well. This is oops, I can never type when people are watching. This is some stuff. I can save that, and I can add a new step in. Let's go and quickly add in an email. So send an email. Put in info@redplane.co.uk. I can put in my subject, and I can put in my body, and then I can go my email action, and I can copy that to my clipboard as well. Write a parallel branch. Go to my clipboard, and you can see it saved all of the actions that I've copied throughout this flow, which is really, really nice. And that just gives me another copy, so we can send that to support as well. Really simple feature. We've been asking for this a long time. It's going to save a lot of people a lot of time. Just a couple of other little things that I noticed as well. If we just come out of here I'll do a full video on this, a separate video, it'll only be a short one, so I don't want to take too long on this. But also, if I go in, if I create a new flow at this point, then we can see that actually what it does from Microsoft Flow. The question is where those saved actions persist. If I go to add new step by clipboard, lo and behold, they're still there. So actually within this browser session, I can still use these. So that's really nice. Okay. One thing to note as well, if I paste in the step here from my clipboard, so this has a dependency on my compose action, okay, but I've put it in before. So it's let me put it in, but if I click save, it does let me save. No, it shouldn't let me save it. There you go. So it gives me an error and tells me that I've got a referential integrity issue here. So there is some support in there, but just be aware if you're pasting lots of things to keep them in the right locations. Just to finish off that point, I won't demo it here, but if you close down the browser, session and then you go back into it, those items are not going to be in the clipboard, so it only saves it for that particular browser session. It doesn't persist it long term, which is probably a good idea because we'll end up with hundreds and hundreds of them over time. It would be nice if we could actually pin some and just say persist this, because it's something I'm going to use over and over and over. That might be nice, but for now this is a really, really cool feature, so I'm really happy that this has come in. And one last thing I just want to show, again this is in Microsoft Flow. If we just click into this other one, is the ability to do some trigger conditions. This is something that we've been asking for a while as well. So what we'll find here is if I go to a SharePoint when an item is created or modified trigger, I can go into my settings, and also I can go in, so now I can go into here to my trigger conditions, and I can just paste in a trigger condition. Oh no, that's actually not going to work for me because I've saved something else. But in my trigger condition, I can just type in something like equals trigger body question mark. So let's say I have something called a field called run flow on my SharePoint list. I can actually come in and do a trigger condition. So if run flow is true on the SharePoint list item, then this will run. If it's not, then it won't run. I first saw this on Twitter, shared by John Liu. So thank you very much, John, for sharing this out. But the nice thing here as well is if your SharePoint item doesn't match that trigger condition, then you don't get charged for a flow run. So that's something really, really useful. That's a good way of saving lots and lots and lots of runs that don't actually do anything. So those trigger conditions are going to be really, really useful. I'll try and do some more videos on them over the next week or two and just highlight them a little bit more. So that's a little bit in the news. Lots of other things have been going on as well. I'm trying to refine how we bring the news and decide what to present out to you. The other thing I saw very recently, Matt Weston shared this on Twitter, so thank you, Matt. But there seems to be some signage and some message center messages saying that private channels in Microsoft Teams are going to be coming through in September. So I'm really, really excited about that. I've been waiting this for a long time. We use channels for projects within Microsoft Teams. So a team for a customer and then a channel for projects. This is going to be really nice for us to actually give access to project teams to particular channels. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay. There's a couple of little bits of news, hopefully they're useful. What I'm going to do now is we're just going to jump into the main session for today. Let's go back to my screen share. Now, like I say, there is quite a lot to get through today, so I'll zip through them as quick as I can. As always, first thing we'll do is we'll look at some of the message center incidents. So these are some of the incidents that are currently going on in my tenant. So I may see different things to you, and you may see things that I don't see. But we can hopefully get an idea of what's going on in the platform, what's up, what's down. So there's two current incidents in my tenant at the moment. First one is there's some ability where we can't forward emails using the Outlook desktop client, service degradation. So You may see some issues there. If your users report issues, then you know how to deal with it. You know there's a platform issue. This is affecting 19,388,000. This is quite a common number, so I guess we're in a kind of a main area of the exchange farm here. We sometimes see up to 22 million affected tenants, so there may be some different separated data centers. Maybe. But so it's quite a widespread issue here. Also can't redeem product keys, so there's some issues where users have been unable to validate product keys through the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So you may be getting some reports there. These are currently active. There was 23 closed incidents over the last 2 weeks. Remember, this is a 2-week period. So this was a false positive where users were unable to join online meetings in Skype for Business. So a false positive means that an incident was reported. They thought there was an issue, but actually it turns out there wasn't an issue. So maybe something else was causing this. Incomplete usage metrics data. The service has now been restored. So some users were experiencing missing or incomplete data in Microsoft in usage metrics. We actually came across this last time, so we should be aware of this already. Again, another one we saw last time. So maybe it's a recurring issue or long-lasting. But an inability to access some Power BI functions. Again, we saw this one last time. So there was a problem here where we haven't been able to create some forms for SharePoint Online lists through SharePoint Designer. Who's still using SharePoint Designer? Oh, users are.
I found this on the web.
Okay, Siri. Thank you, Siri, for trying to see what's going on there. So users are unable to access Exchange Online. Service restored. I think we've seen this one before, so maybe some issues here that are ongoing or repeating themselves. Now, this is a serious one. We need to worry about this one. Users weren't able to search or load GIFs in Microsoft Teams. I mean, this is going to be killing productivity, I'm sure, across the world at the moment. But thankfully, that's been restored, and users can search for GIFs using Giphy again. Well, we can carry on. Can't view documents, create teams, or view organizational charts. Again, in Microsoft Teams. Users had problems navigating to plans and were getting permission errors in Planner. That service has been restored. Mailbox access issue due to Outlook on the web. That was a false positive. Another false positive, Outlook client connectivity issues. So we're getting the impression maybe some of these are the same issue, sorry, different issues, but actually the same thing. Again, a false positive. There was an issue for a couple of hours in Microsoft Teams where users were unable to screen share using using Google Chrome. There was a issue which has been resolved, another false positive, where users were unable to open Office documents in the web application clients. There was an issue we saw this last time, delayed usage reports, so admins were receiving delayed usage reports. That went on for quite a couple of weeks actually, by the looks of it. Okay, so SharePoint Online links not working in Outlook on the web. We saw this 2 weeks ago as well. That's now closed off. So it looks like it resurfaced again, maybe. Can't view current participant list in meetings in Microsoft Teams. So users may have seen that again across 734,000 tenants, so not as widespread, but still quite wide. Again, can't screen share using Chrome. I've seen that one already. Sometimes we get duplicates in these messages. So we can't search for newly created or edited site pages. So SharePoint Online, there was an issue there finding new pages. That affected nearly 14 million tenants. There was an issue where we were unable to import data models into SharePoint Online BCS. Again, we've seen this one, so there seems to be some ongoing issues here. So if you are using BDC and BCS, just be aware that there is some ongoing issues here. Hopefully we can see this resolved soon and it go away. Some users are unable to navigate to Planner. Some issues with false positive here, so this actually wasn't a real issue, but some users were unable to sign into Azure AD. Can't complete capture for IP address DList submission, so for something for the admins here. Yammer post delay, so there was delays to Yammer posts being visible for up to 10 minutes after being made. I imagine that may have caused a bunch of duplicate issues in some of your tenants if people have not seen the post going in. We saw this as well, so it looks like this is a current issue now as well as being closed, so can't redeem product keys, and that's the end of the closed ones. I won't go through the awareness ones because there is a lot of these and a lot of them come up over and over, so we'll skip over these for now. I'm going to try and pull some of these out as news items instead, the things that we want to be aware of. Okay, just be aware Cluster for Outlook is being retired beginning of January 31st, 2020. Okay, so if we jump into the roadmap, so this is going to tell us what changes have been made to the Microsoft roadmap over the last 2 weeks. We can see there's quite a lot in here, so I'm going to have to get through these pretty quick just to make sure we can get through in a timely manner, because I don't want to keep here too long. So cancelled. So one item's been cancelled from the roadmap, Outlook on the web with meeting time suggestion. Now this has actually been cancelled because it's been replaced by a new item. So the feature isn't actually going away. They've not stopped working on it. It just means there's a new feature in the roadmap which has actually taken on this requirements to cancel this. I think we come across this again in a moment. Okay. So these are the things that have launched in the last 2 weeks. Like I say, Microsoft's been busy. There's a lot of mobile stuff in here as well, so we'll get through these as quick as we can. Anything you find interest in, the intention here isn't to give you all the background on it, but anything you find relevant to you, you can go and search for these after the fact. If you scroll back in the video, you can see there is a link down there for a lot of these items if you want more information on them. Okay, so what's launched in the last 2 weeks? Microsoft Intune now provides support for File Vault on Mac OS. We have dynamic data updates for embed and list properties web parts. Useful for anybody using those. Teams Edu messaging policies migration. So about 300 tenants of the messaging policies in the Office 365 portal, they're being moved over to a new system where most of the systems are for a consistent experience. If you're in education, that's something you might need to be aware of. Only 300 tenants are not huge amount. Outlook for Android is getting calendar category colors. Outlook for Android is also getting people contact information. So again, more information in the people card. Outlook for iOS. So this is really cool. Actually, I use Outlook on iPhone. So the ability to act on one message in the conversation thread. Sometimes I'll actually want to reply to a previous message in the thread or forward a previous message. So that is now going to be a lot easier to do. So we should see that when those applications update. Full Microsoft Autopilot and Intune support for OneDrive for Business. So we'll be able to deploy and manage OneDrive Sync using modern deployment technologies. Microsoft. Microsoft Teams for first line worker capability. The shifts are going to the Graph API. So developers out there will be happy to see that. Microsoft Teams first line worker capability praise, so first line workers will be able to give each other praise. I quite like these little features. It kind of socializes businesses a bit more, and it's nice to just give recognition. So I quite like these little ones going in. Outlook on the web is getting smart time suggestions. So this is the item that's replaced the cancelled one. So when we actually reply, we're going to get automatic suggestions of times when meetings might be available for all users, so that's going to be really useful. But new Outlook on the web. So when it says new Outlook on the web, this is the new Outlook experience in the browser. So we'll be able to schedule a meeting as an option in suggested replies. We saw this a couple of weeks ago. So Microsoft's going to start giving suggested replies when emails come in. Again, I'm not currently convinced on what those suggested replies are going to be on an email basis. I think they work for instant messaging, so I'm quite keen to see what these are. In fact, I could probably just go into my Outlook on the web and see what they are, because they should be launched now to everybody. But it was going to suggest scheduling a meeting if it thinks that's appropriate. So again, new Outlook on the web experience. We'll be able to email LinkedIn connections direct from Outlook. Outlook for iOS favorite people. This is quite an interesting one. I've not seen this yet, so I don't think my Outlook's updated. But we'll be able to favorite people in our contacts list, and then that's going to quickly and easily make conversations from those people more visible from our favorite people. So I think that could be a really useful function. I basically die in email these days, so actually getting more targeted content to me quickly is very, very useful. So I think that would be a good feature. Same for Outlook for Android, get favorite people as well. Outlook for Windows, Microsoft is lifting the 500 folder limit for shared mailboxes. Outlook for Windows, the ability to customize quick actions. Outlook for Mac, enhanced contact card information. You'll be able to select a contact's name in a message or calendar event, see their photo, phone number, email, recent conversations, and more. Again, just little things like this just make a difference to productivity, I find. Outlook for Windows, spelling corrections in search. If you've just seen me type or tried to type, so that's something that would be very useful for me. Outlook for iOS, favorite notifications. So we'll we can choose to have notifications for emails only from the people we've identified as favorites in Outlook, so tied into the previous one we've just seen. Again, kind of maybe reducing the information overload that we get by being more selective on what we see. Same for Outlook for Android. Outlook for Android, act on one message within a conversation thread. Yeah, we've seen that for iOS already. Office customization search. So the Office customization service is the next phase of the Office customization tool. And this allows customers to pre-configure a number of settings for Office 365 Pro Plus installations that previously required group policy manipulation. Really useful feature set, this, I think. Outlook for Windows, default permissions for sharing links, so we can set default permissions there. Oh, sorry, administrators can set default permissions across the tenant. Outlook for iOS, enhanced access to Office 365 files. I think we saw this in the rolling out last time. Outlook for iOS calendar search, so we'll be able to easily search for Outlook calendar items. Search. Same for Android. Calendar category colours in Outlook for iOS. Outlook on the web, bold calendar event colours. So users will be able to choose between bold and light colours for their calendar events in Outlook on the web. Users can toggle bold event colours in the calendar settings by going to the gear icon in Outlook settings. Okay, interesting. Not sure what that adds. Self-help for sync client. So the availability of get help option in the activity center will enable end users to initiate a support ticket. This is probably going to be quite useful actually, because I find with the OneDrive sync, I still have a bit of an issue where it gets confused with folders I've already got synced, and quite often I have to delete folders on my desktop for it to be able to resync them. I think they're the ones where they're set as online only folders, but that could be quite scary, because I'm worried if I delete a pictures folder, does that mean it's going to delete it everywhere? As an end user, I may be unsure, so these might be quite useful additions for that. Incident deflection for Windows Sync client, so in-app resolutions to sync errors to help end users avert and solve issues easily. So kind of tied into what we were just talking about. One of the first incident deflection items here is for illegal file names not syncing. So users should get more and better feedback on issues with the OneDrive sync. There's a new shared with me for OneDrive mobile app. Do we need another mobile app? What, can we not tie this into the OneDrive app? However, we do have a new mobile app called Shared with Me OneDrive, so we can see all the content that's shared with me. Outlook for Windows, use tighter spacing. So Outlook on the Windows is going to use tighter spacing on the characters so we can fit a little bit more on the screen. Outlook for Mac, it's adding presence for Teams customers. So now within Outlook on the Mac, we're going to get more presence information. I'm a Mac user, so that would be really useful. Outlook for Android, suggested location. So when you're creating a calendar event, it will start to suggest an available conference room or a suggested location for that event. Azure Information Protection Government. Not my area. Someone can look at that if you're interested. Outlook for Mac, OneNote integration. So simply sends emails and notes with OneNote from Outlook for Mac. So Outlook for Mac's definitely been getting a lot of love and attention lately. Best thing still as a Mac user, I still get a unified inbox on Outlook for Mac that we don't get in Outlook for Windows. Please bring that unified inbox to Outlook for Windows. Please. New Outlook on the web, search filters. So search filters allow you to search for more specific terms such as folder, from, to, subject, keywords, etc. So that's going to the new Outlook experience. Outlook on the web, agenda and calendar. So they are bringing back the daily agenda view in your Outlook calendar when you set up a monthly view, and so you can get a rich view of your day while seeing your full month. I think that could be really useful. Mini toolbar in OneNote for Windows 10. So edit faster with a new mini toolbar in OneNote for Windows 10. Toolbar will appear above text when content is highlighted with tools relevant to the selected content. Little things like that, again, help with productivity, so that would be nice. Outlook on the web, browse rooms. So there's a lot of, we can see there's a lot of effort going on here at the moment around actually room and location selection. So we can see a lot of these kind of similar topic. Azure Information Protection Administrator. The Information Protection Administrator role has now been renamed to the Azure Information Protection Administrator. There's that right up. Privileged Role Administrator. So a privileged role administrator can now have the ability to consent or revoke any delegated or app permissions, including permissions to Microsoft or Azure AD Graph. They also have the ability to create, update, and delete AUs, including membership management. So governance and security is getting some stuff here. Find time, online meeting support. Okay, kind of timed into some of the stuff we've seen before. So finding times that are common across everybody here. Azure AD automatic user provisioning for Zscaler apps. Okay, I've been watching too many American blogs. Zscaler apps. Golden folders, so new folder icon design. Okay, this is one for you, Mark Rackley. If you're watching, new icons, you're going to love this. Outlook on the web, authentication, session management. Outlook on the web, calendar, quick compose. I told you there's a lot of updates today. Windows Autopilot self-deploying mode. So currently the Windows Autopilot experience requires the user to select basic settings like region, language, and keyboard, and also enter their credentials in the Windows 10 out-of-the-box experience. The new Windows Autopilot capability called self-deploying mode, Microsoft is extending the zero-touch experience from IT to user deploying the device. Power on is all it takes to deploy a new Windows 10 device to a fully business-ready state. Wow, let's see how that works. Outlook for Windows, LinkedIn and Microsoft account connections. So connect your Microsoft 365 account with LinkedIn and quickly have access to the LinkedIn profile for the people you work with daily in Outlook. Could be interesting. Unfortunately, my LinkedIn is a right mess. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Embed Microsoft Stream videos in PowerPoint. Nice, useful. Microsoft Teams lobby support. So it's one of the Skype for Business. So interestingly, I believe Microsoft announced about a month or so ago that Teams is has full feature parity with Skype for Business. However, they've just launched a feature that Skype for Business had that Teams didn't. But now we have the ability to support delegate and lobby features for users. So yeah, I wonder what Microsoft means by full feature parity. PPT, PowerPoint Mac, live captions and subtitles. There's an exclamation mark, so Microsoft's obviously very excited about that. Live captions and subtitles in PowerPoint for Windows Desktop. Microsoft 365 Security Center and Microsoft 365 Compliance Center. They're becoming your centralized and specialized security and compliance workspaces, which give you tailored experience across all the Microsoft 365 applications. This is going to be really good. I'm really loving the Security and Compliance Center at the moment. One place to go to just identify everything that's happening, audits and things like that, tied in one place. Super useful. So this is really cool stuff. Manage face detection in Microsoft Stream. So new administration control to turn off the face detection feature on a tenant level will be available in the Stream admin portal. Safe links protection for Microsoft Teams. Power of safe links will now be available to protect users from malicious links sent via Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, stay productive with focus teams. So focus on the teams you're most active in and hide the ones where you're not. Yeah, so I wonder how many people are starting to get the prolific sprawl of Microsoft Teams now. The old wild west of SharePoint sites is back with Teams. So anything Microsoft can do to help keep that under control will be very, very useful. Prompt for pending upload. So Sync Client will also notify users when they have pending uploads in the queue, when the computer is shutting down or going into standby. Yeah, this is useful. Sometimes you say something you want to sync up, you just close your computer down not realizing it hasn't synced. So actually this could be a really useful feature. I do the same. I record these videos to a desktop that synchronizes with the OneDrive, the PC where I do my video editing, and then I want that syncing. So when I finish filming here, I want that to automatically sync with my powerful desktop for my video editing. So this feature is going to be really useful, especially when you're talking about multi-gigabyte files. So I'm quite keen on this one. Live captions and subtitles for PowerPoint Online. Okay, we're seeing this in desktop as well. Microsoft Team, read receipts in private chats. So increase communication transparency with Teams. Do you often wonder if your teammates saw your messages? This is useful. So I use this a lot on WhatsApp and things like that. I want to see who's actually seen my messages and why they haven't replied to it for 4 or 5 days. Do they like me or not? Then now get that to do that in Teams. So we can always know that people don't like us and don't want to reply to us. Updated Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So the new Admin Center's getting a lot of love. So we're going to see a lot of new functionality coming through there. I won't read too much in here. If that's something that interests you, then the link is at the bottom of the slide. To improve performance, cache files will open before syncing changes in PowerPoint. So Word and PowerPoint will open non-synced cloud files directly from the Office document cache instead of waiting for any changes to be downloaded. Office 365 group card enhancements, search members, renew groups, approve pending members. I need to update my Power Up here so my title fits on. So in Outlook on the web and SharePoint Online, users can now search for members inside Office 365 groups. As well, owners can renew expiring groups as well as approve pending members. Improvements to how Office handles properties. Users will now be able to save Office files with missing required properties. This change will apply only to Office files synced by the OneDrive Sync client. And document properties will continue to be available for viewing and editing through Document Backstage. Yeah, this is something that keeps coming up. We've had this with SharePoint for a number of years about the ability to save documents into document libraries without actually specifying required fields. Enhancements to URL views in Explorer. Support the ability for administrators to update Exchange properties on Office 365 groups without requiring an Exchange license. That's useful. Outlook on the web, new parameter to create room features. Enhance submission experience of suspicious content. So submissions are critical in reporting suspicious content to Microsoft. They help improve the machine learning model to accurately detect malicious content. That's useful. Microsoft Teams partner provided calling plans for Japan. Saving to the cloud simplified. So making it easier for users to save their files to Microsoft 365 cloud storage locations. The new experience allows users of Word, and Excel, and PowerPoint on Windows and Mac OS to save documents to OneDrive and SharePoint Online more easily. SharePoint sites are just the footer of a site. So this is something that's been coming for a while. So this is now fully launched and everyone should see this in their tenant. We've had the ability to do some changes to headers for a while. So now we can adjust the footer of our SharePoint sites across the whole tenant. So we have some consistency. I still have big issues with the amount of branding customization we can do in modern sites. So anything Microsoft puts in to help with that is going to be very much appreciated. So it's good to see that come through. Microsoft Defender ATP for GCC high customers. Microsoft Teams, broadcast meetings. So another one of the Skype for Business meeting capabilities that's coming to Teams, even though Teams has full feature parity. I won't bang on about that too much. But now we can do large town hall style meetings with Microsoft Teams. That should now be live in everybody's tenant. We're getting there, 3 more to go. Meeting recording in Government Community Cloud. Live events admin usage reports. Live captions, translation and transcription in live events, Microsoft Teams. And that's the last one. That is everything that has gone into launch, that is fully rolled out. Now, you may have seen some of these for the last 2 to 3 months already, because when something's rolling out and launching, it can take about 3 months to roll out across everything. So you may have seen these live previously, but by moving to the launch category in the last 2 weeks, that means Microsoft has completed the launch. This isn't everything that's in there. This is just the items that have been added in the last 2 weeks. Quite a lot of content there. So what we'll do now is we'll have a look at the items that are currently, the new items that are rolling out. So this isn't everything that's rolling out over the next 3 months. This is all the new items that have gone into the rolling out category in the last 2 weeks. So you really do need to watch this session every other week to make sure that you keep up to date with everything that's there. If I was going to read everything in this category, there would be far too much. Okay, so what has started rolling out over the last 2 weeks? So per site, any one link expiration policy. So tenant admins can now set custom any one link expiration policies on site collections that differ from default tenant policies. So you might be aware that when we share some content in SharePoint, we can say share with anyone, and if anyone external to the business has that link, then they can view that content. So admins can now actually set expiration policies on that. Outlook for Windows, shared calendar improvements. So some improvements to shared calendars coming through. Outlook for Windows get suggestions for calendar, meeting and appointment locations. So we're kind of seeing some of these already. So some of these are rolling out to launch. So there's maybe some duplicates. Outlook on the web, inline translation. So Outlook on the web is going to offer inline translation from foreign language messages that come in and translate them into your mailbox's language. So if someone sends you an email in Spanish, and Outlook knows that I'm in English, it will automatically offer inline translation of that. That I think is going to be super useful. I'm loving the auto translation stuff that's coming through in video. And Outlook on the web, new cloud doc sharing experiences are currently starting to roll out. Outlook on the web is updating how you share cloud docs from OneDrive and SharePoint. Now, when you paste the link, now when you paste the link for a OneDrive or SharePoint file in a message, it will replace it with the name of the file and the corresponding Office app icon, rather than just putting a ugly URL in there. Microsoft Teams desktop app is coming to existing installs of Office 365 Pro Plus and Microsoft Office 365 Business Premium. Yeah, so when we do the Office Pro Plus install, we will start to get Microsoft Teams as part of that package. That's probably, I think people are starting to see that from what I can read online. Time to read an inside look to files. This is kind of cool actually. I think this could be useful. So get deeper information like key points from documents, and average time to read. I'm a slow reader, so I typically double those times for myself. 360 degree images previewer support. So Microsoft's doing quite a lot of stuff around here as well. If anyone's seen any work around SharePoint Spaces as well, then some VR and AR stuff coming in. So Microsoft's putting some effort into things like 360 images and videos. So I guess we're getting some of that capability now to try for business. Outlook on the web, recurring series room availability. So again, we've been seeing a lot with rooms. And now starting to roll out is if we have a series calendar event, then it will suggest room availability for each item in the series. Oops, skipped on one. Productivity insights in Outlook powered by My Analytics. I love My Analytics, very useful tool. Tells me how unproductive I am. Native connectors to third-party data for archiving. So now connect and import third-party data such as social media and other business data like Bloomberg for archiving and discovery purposes. Pretty cool. Open file links directly in Office desktop apps. Advanced record versioning in advanced data governance. Outlook on the web, filters in room booking, more room bookings. That team has been busy. Microsoft Teams managed discovery of private teams. So we've seen this, I think we had this in development recently. This maybe has come through fairly quick, but Teams is making it easy to discover and join private teams. So admins and team owners can control whether they want to allow private teams to be discovered. So when it's discoverable, it shows up in search results and users can request the ability to join that team. But admins can still mark a team as undiscoverable if they want and it's truly private. So we should start to see that rolling out over the next few weeks. Enhanced list editing in grid view. So the quick edit is getting some enhancements. So we're finally going to get back the ability to cut and paste data from other services like Excel. Thank God this is coming back. Service health dashboard update, report an outage. Outlook on the web, suggested meetings add-in off by default. Move SharePoint sites to a new location. Yeah, this one's really cool actually. I came across this a week or two back. It's the ability to swap SharePoint sites. Now, we deploy intranets to companies. One of the biggest issues that we have is when we go to a company who doesn't have an intranet already, is they've loaded a ton of stuff into their root site collections. What this is going to allow users to do is to swap a site from the root site collection to somewhere else in the tenant, so that can leave us with a nice clean site collection at the root of the site to actually go and install them. So this site swap, I think this is really cool. This is going to be so useful for a lot of people and save a ton of migration work for things that we get involved in. Outlook for Android video compression. Interesting how that affects your battery. Outlook for Android, support for POP3 accounts. Yes, modern. Outlook for Android, more visibility on larger screens. Outlook for Android, new app for Samsung Galaxy Watch. Outlook for Android, support for a Samsung S Pen. And that's it. They're the items that are currently rolling out over the next few weeks. So the nice thing here is you can actually go back and you can start to take that to your users. So you can start preparing them for it. Anything that's going to impact your users, please go research them, send some communications out, get your users ready, get your IT support ready to support them when people are saying, why is this happening, why is that happening, why is this changed? You're now well prepared to know what's going to go on. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a quick look at some of the in development. So 25 items have gone into in development. So this gives us a little bit longer term view of what's coming through. So these are going to be further out. These could be in development for a very long time or a short time. Let's just see a bit longer term what's currently going on. Personalized onboarding in OneDrive for Business. Okay, we've seen this previously. Site owners can now associate their sites with a SharePoint hub. Well, not can now, we'll be able to. Add call to action link to a hero web part. So if you're using modern sites and the hero web part, you will soon be able to add a call to action link. Microsoft Teams, phone system for GCC. Microsoft Teams, Teams and Skype consumer chat and calling interop. So Teams and Skype for consumers will be able to talk across. This would be great as well because we used to do this Skype for Business. So it'd be great to see this come into the Teams as well. Did I mention that Microsoft announced Teams and Skype for Business had feature parity about a month or so ago? But it's good to see that they're working on some new features to attain feature parity. Microsoft Teams, Teams voice platform. Microsoft Teams, shorter retention. Microsoft Teams, reverse number lookup. Teams busy. Microsoft Teams, dynamic E911. So enables public safety answering point to receive current location when a Teams user is making an emergency call. Ability to mark up WXP files on OneDrive for Android. Microsoft Teams, sharing, screen sharing in Teams and Skype for Business interop. Again, Skype for Business and Teams, that'd be useful. Microsoft Cloud App Security for excuse me, GCC High customers. Azure ATP for GCC High customers. Outlook for iOS, create a new account. So an updated experience to simplify how you can create a new Outlook.com account from your mobile device. Microsoft Teams focus mode. So stay focused and get more done Microsoft Teams. So we're all comfortable with things like clutter and focus view now. So we're kind of getting that in Teams. Enhanced filtering for connectors. Outlook for iOS, delegate permissions. So share your mailbox with a delegate and assign permissions to create read update. It's been really useful. So if people are going away on vacation and they want to give delegate permission to their mailbox, they'll be able to do this straight from the iOS app. I think that'd be really useful. Same with Outlook for Android. Outlook for Android, updated search experience on larger screens. Must be a nightmare developing for Android with all the different screen and hardware profiles you have to deal with. Enhanced submission experience of suspicious content and quarantine improvements. So again, you can actually make submissions to nefarious content to Microsoft, and that will help teach our machine learning models. Microsoft Teams, use a link or code to join a team in the Office 365 Government DoD. Updates to outbound spam settings. Security Compliance Center. Microsoft Teams getting feedback surveys. This is actually not feedback surveys to your users through Teams, but this is for Microsoft to issue feedback surveys for users using Teams, so they can get information on what people think of Microsoft Teams, get some feedback so they can focus on new features going forward. Okay, so that's everything that has gone into development in the last 2 weeks. Again, that's not everything that's in development for Office 365, just the new items over the last 2 weeks. So that's it in what we're doing, about 45 minutes. That's everything that's currently going on with the platform. This is all the new changes, all the new items that have been rolling out, all the new items have gone into development. So we can see Microsoft is still really, really busy. There's a lot going on. I really hope you find these sessions useful. What I would like to do is please reach out to me. Do you find the format works? If it does, great, I'll keep doing it. Do you want me to try to group them together into technologies like Teams or SharePoint or Outlook? So it can be difficult, but if you'd rather see it presented that way, let me know. Hopefully this gives you a flavour of what's changed on the platform so you can support your users or advise your customers. Please get in touch, let me know anything you think could be changed on the format, or if you like the format, let me know as well. And then yeah, I can keep developing it so it's a service that you want to use. But right, for now, that's all the updates we've got. I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time, where we'll find out what's changed between now and then. Great, thank you very much. Goodbye.